Good morning everyone, it's Peter, Iridium Consulting. So today I'm going to talk about fun. I'm going to talk about two different types of fun. Type 1 fun and type 2 fun. I'm going to tell a story and then I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. So a number of years ago, I think it was about 15 years ago, I got a phone call from a London-based mountaineering friend of mine. And he said to me, Peter, would you like to come out to the Italian Dolomites with me for a couple of days and do some mountain climbing? And I said yes to him. I immediately jumped at the opportunity. And we talked about what he wanted to do. And he explained to me that he'd done a classic rock climb a number of years prior to our conversation with his then 15-year-old daughter. It was a classic climb. It was called the Spigolo del Velo. And he'd really enjoyed it and he wanted to do it again, hence his invitation to me. I jumped at the opportunity. I planned my flights to Italy. I flew out a number of weeks later and I met my friend out there. And we made plans to climb for the next couple of days. But unfortunately on that expedition, things didn't work to plan. It was late in the season, it was September, maybe even early October. And the autumn rains came early, and I think it was a mixture of rain and snow. And it didn't work for us. Rain, snow and mountain climbing don't always mix. So we didn't get to do that climb. But I filed it away at the back of my mind as a list of things to do in the future. And lucky for me, another mountaineering friend of mine phoned me, this time about 7 years ago. I think it was 2016 or 2017. And he said the same thing to me. Peter, would you like to come out to the Italian Dolomites for a week or two and do some climbing? And I again said yes to him. I jumped at the opportunity. And I said to him, look, there's one climb at the back of my mind that I was going to do a number of years ago. Do you think we could attempt it? And he said yes to me. He said, yes, let's try that. So again, we flew out to the Dolomites. We made plans to go climbing for a couple of days. This time we walked up to the hut. The weather was good, it was August. We got up to the mountain hut at the base of the climb. We met the hut warden. We had a lovely conversation the day before we were going to climb. We talked about the challenges that lay ahead. We talked about the choices we were going to have to make. We talked about the route we were going to have to follow. And like every big thing in life like that, there's a certain amount of fear, trepidation, apprehension at what lies ahead. We got up the next morning about 7 o'clock. We left that hut about 8 o'clock. And yes, we did the climb, but it was a difficult day. It was a difficult day. It was difficult finding the route. And one of the things that I particularly remember about the day was that it wasn't that warm. It was August, but it was at high altitude. It was about 3,000 meters. Even in August, at that altitude, the temperature can be quite low, and my recollection was it was well below 10 degrees centigrade. Out of the sun, in a wind, you can get quite cold. And cold doesn't help you make decisions. Cold doesn't help your body work as well as it does when you're warm. And it's one of the hidden enemies of mountaineering, being cold. You don't make the right decisions, you don't work as well. It was a difficult day. It was a challenging day. But eventually, after about 10, maybe 12 hours of climbing and abseiling back down, we got back to the hut. And we had another lovely conversation with the hut warden. She said to us, well done lads, you've achieved something great. It's something that you can tick off as having done, as having accomplished. And I got her point. It was about achievement. And that climb for me is the epitome of type 2 fun. It's something that's difficult to do at the time, challenging to do at the time, but having done it, it's something that's fun to look back on. It's something very worthwhile to have done. So type 2 fun are things that are worthwhile to do when you look back on them. They're fun having done them. Type 1 fun are things that are fun at the time. Having a beer on a Friday evening with your friends in the pub. Seeing a funny movie in the cinema with your kids. going on holidays and lying on the beach. Type 1 fun, fun at the time. Type 2 fun, fun looking back on them, challenging at the time. I learned one other thing on that mountain that day. Don't judge something through somebody else's eyes. My original London-based friend said his 15-year-old daughter did the climb. I thought then, oh, that means it must be easy. It wasn't, it was difficult. And I see that in business all the time. Something that I find easy, other people can find difficult. Something I find difficult, other people can find easy. I see some people seeing time management and finding time management really difficult. Some people find it easy. I see some people finding public speaking very difficult. I see other people standing up and enjoying it. So we all see challenges differently, and what's a challenge for me is not necessarily a challenge for somebody else. I think that's always worth remembering. So I've been talking about different types of fun. Type 1 fun and type 2 fun. And I think if you work for somebody else in a job, you understand the concept of type 1 fun. Work today, you can see your reward on the horizon at the end of the week or the end of the month when you get paid. But if you work for yourself or if you're an entrepreneur, it's different. You have to understand or at least accept the concept of type 2 fun. It's difficult today, it's challenging today, it is not easy today. The reward is not necessarily seen on the horizon, it's in the distant future. And I think to succeed as an entrepreneur, it's a very necessary trait. And I often feel that people who understand type 2 fun, people who like challenges in life, are very different in their outlook from people who only understand type 1 fun. But to succeed as an entrepreneur, I genuinely believe you need to understand the concept of type 2 fun. And to finish up, there are in fact 3 types of fun. I've talked about 2. Type 1 fun, stuff that's fun to do right now. Type 2 fun, stuff that's fun to do or have done when you look back on it. And last but not least, type 3 fun, and I've had some of it, stuff that you've done that when you look back on it is not in any way fun. Type 3 fun is not fun. I've talked about fun in this video, type 1 fun and type 2 fun. But in reality, I've talked about challenges. Challenges in our businesses and our attitude to those challenges. If you'd like a conversation about some challenges in your business, let me know. Let's have a coffee. My number's on screen, or if you want to send me an email, that address is there as well. That's me, Peter, Iridium Consulting, and thank you for listening.